Okay, as we are getting ready to do a micrography project, I know that many of you will want to try out doing portraiture. Before I feel comfortable showing you how to shade a face using micrography, I think it's important to just know how to draw a face in general. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to draw like a realistic human face using the quadrant method of breaking up the face. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab a pen, or actually a pencil would be better because you can erase, and a piece of paper. As you can see, I'm just starting off the face by drawing what I call an egg shape. If you think about a chicken's egg, one side of the egg is a little bit more narrow and one side is larger and more round. The more round side is actually going to be up there at the top where I'm drawing, and then the chin is going to be the more narrow part of the egg. So draw yourself an egg, it takes a minute, and that's okay. You want to make sure that there's not really any corners on the egg, because imagine how much that would suck for the chicken who has to lay the egg. So if you need to erase and be picky about how you draw it, that's all good. Do what you gotta do. All right, what we want to do now is we want to actually divide our egg in half. So to do that, I just kind of split it with a horizontal line, and then we're going to actually split it in half again with a vertical line, so top to bottom. This is where those four quadrants are going to come in. All right, we're going to start by adding our eyes, and obviously your average human being is going to have two eyes, but the width of the entire face would give you enough room to have five eyes. So when you're drawing them, you want to think about creating enough that you could have spacing for five. So I'm just putting my two eyes, but if you look at the space in between, you can see there's definitely room enough for a third eye in between. If you want to be all knowing and all seeing, that's where you could put your third eye right there. On either side, there's actually room for another eye on each of those sides. I thought that mine looked a little bit off center, so I'm actually going to fatten that head up slightly. And then just use my eraser. All right, now the fun part. We're going to start adding some of the details. Right now I'm drawing in the tear ducts for my eye. The tear duct is the little squishy pink part next to your eye. That's where like the Sandman leaves some little eye crusties in the morning when you wake up. That's a really nice visual for you. I'm sure you're not creeped out at all. So that's what we want to add in. We want to add in our tear duct. And then I'm just kind of making a little bit of an edge at the end of the eye because I feel like there's always kind of a little bit of a wrinkle there. Next, I'm putting in the structures of the eye, starting with the iris, which is the colorful portion of your eye. Mine are blue, but yours might be brown or hazel, or if you have colorful contacts, they could be really creepy and white. And our pupils, they are typically going to be not a full circle. They're always cut off at the very top of the eyelid, unless the person is like super duper shocked. Then you would, I guess, see the whole iris. That's not usual. From here, you can actually go ahead and draw in your pupil. Your pupil is the black dot that's in your eye. This can um, change sizes. It can expand and it can retract depending on how much light or how dark it is in whatever setting you're at. Most humans, they have symmetrical pupils. Mine actually are not symmetrical. They're always slightly different sizes from each other, so I have some issues with depth perception because my pupils are a little bit funky. And since your eye is a mucous membrane, it always is wet and shiny. So you can see I drew in a highlight. I'm going to leave that area white, and I'm going to shade in the rest of my iris. And I like to use kind of like a zigzaggy up and down stroke, almost like hatching, because I think it creates a realistic texture inside of the iris. If you look really closely up at someone's iris, it almost looks like a sunflower. Very beautiful. National Geographic did a whole series on up close like photography of irises. It was really cool. You should Google it for sure. And then on the whites of the eye, Very rarely are they actually truly white because of your eyelashes. They tend to cast a shadow in the upper half, so I'm shading in a little bit of some gray tones at the top of that iris, or not the iris, but the white of the eye. Also, you're going to want to color in your tear duct because your tear duct is skin. It is not part of your eye. So your skin is different than the white of your eye in color, so you want to shade that in. Leave a little bit white because it's wet and there's moisture there. All right, now is where we get to have a little bit of personality in your person by adding eyelashes. I tend to curve out the edges of the eyelashes. I definitely don't make them like spidery and standing straight up because I think that looks a little bit childish, a little bit not realistic. So you can go ahead and make yours kind of a little more real, have them curve. It'll look nice, I promise. Boys and girls, and everybody, all types of people, they all have eyelashes. It is not a gendered body part. Everyone has eyelashes. When I taught elementary school, boys would never draw eyelashes on their portraits because they thought it was too girly. But it's a human thing to keep dust out of your eye. It is not a gender thing. That would just be weird if some people didn't have any eyelashes at all. I suppose as you get older, you might lose your eyelashes, but I don't know. I'm not old yet. All right, next, a very important thing that is going to ensure that your person is not the biggest creep. You're going to add some eyebrows, and there's a lot of different variety of eyebrows. I feel like eyebrows are very trendy right now. Everybody loves doing their eyebrows a very particular way. You go ahead and you can draw in whatever shape of eyebrows you like to have. Oh, actually, sorry, my mistake. Gotta put in that eyelid. That's what I'm doing on this one. Putting in the eyelid, I'm shading either side of the eyelid because your eye is an eye socket. That means a hole in your head. So since your eyes are sunken into your socket, you're gonna want to shade that to make it look like it's actually within a deep cavernous place. Think about a skull. Think about how there's two holes where the eyes are. That's like a deep little cave. So you're gonna want to shade that sucker, make it look real 3D, real nice. Now we can do eyebrows. Whew, right above the eyelid. Looking good. Sometimes your eyebrow hairs stand straight up at the very beginning of your eyebrow, and then they kind of curve out towards the edges. Maybe you want to go for like a Wolverine thing where they're just like full on crazy. Maybe you love like a penciled in brow. That's perfect. It's totally up to you what kind of eyebrow you would like to have. Maybe you want to have like the cat scratch thing on the edge because like you're a little bit tough. You do you for your eyebrows. I don't judge. You could also look up celebrities with no eyebrows. I love those photoshops. Anne Hathaway looks particularly terrifying without eyebrows, just so you know. All right, figuring out your nose and mouth can be a real pickle. What I try to do is I try to divide it into thirds, and I honestly never do this quite perfectly, so don't feel bad if yours looks a little bit weird. You're just going to draw some horizontal lines to make the head turn into like almost 3 equal sections. The very first section, that's where we're going to put the bottom of our nose, and I just draw a curved line right in the center. Figuring out the width of your nose is a little bit tricky, but usually it's not going to be wider than where your tear duct is. So you can see I'm drawing a line down from the tear duct, so that way I know not to make the nose like too big. Although noses come in all shapes and sizes, definitely a lot of variation in noses. I just kind of draw like a little wavy shape for the bottom of the nose. I've heard some people describe this as like being bat shaped if you think about like a Halloween bat. If that works for you to think of it that way, go for it. I just kind of draw it as like a curve, almost like a letter M, like a lowercase m. And then the bridge of your nose, that's the long part of your nose, it actually is leading directly down from your eyebrows. So you can see I'm curving it down from the eyebrow section. And that's going to give you a nice nose shape. Although I will say don't outline it super duper dark because then it looks like there's an eggplant emoji on your face, and that's just weird. So noses, they're mostly made out of shadows. They're not so much made out of harsh outlines. Harsh outlines can make it look like you're an anteater, and that ain't cute, you know? You want it to look real. Usually when you look at a reference photo of someone's nose, just like one side of it is going to be in shadow. So I'm just trying to shade one side of that nose. Try to give it a little bit of drama, give it a little bit of contrast. Doing my thing, you know? And then the nostril, I just draw in kind of like two little curved shapes. They're almost sort of like, I guess, like a apostrophe shape. You do you. It depends on what angle you're seeing the person at. The shape of the nostril could really change. If you want to make the nose look like it has just a little bit of highlight on the ball of your nose, the tip of your nose, you can kind of shade around the rest of it. It's a little bit tricky, but you can give it a shot. You know, what do you have to lose? Nothing, I don't think. For the mouth, that's going to go in that remaining third, that line that you have, that's going to be the center of the mouth, so where the mouth would open. So the top lip is going to go on the top, obviously, and then the bottom lip is going to go below that line. The width for your lips, you want to draw lines down from the pupil. So you can see I put some vertical lines from the pupil. That's where the very edges of my mouth is going to go. I don't like to mess around with drawing teeth because I think that they're so hard. It is so easy to make your person look like someone from Tiger King. So you want to be careful when you're picking a reference photo with teeth because, like, ooh, girl, can it be a real nightmare? I'm telling you. When I put in the lips, I just kind of shape them, not too dramatically, but if you want to have really full lips or really, really thin lips, that can kind of be a fun thing to goof around with. I'm just kind of drawing a curved M for the upper lip. And then for the center of the lip, I'm going to make it look like slightly open, like a little bit pouty. And I'm just doing that by drawing a black line that goes between the lips. Because obviously your lips are two separate things, a top and a bottom. You don't want it to look like it's one horrible plastic surgery nightmare where they've been fused together. Sometimes kids forget to draw the line that divides it, and it just looks really, really scary, like they have wax lips on. And then I like to give it a little bit of texture by drawing some curved lines within the lips, because the skin on your lips is a lot different than the skin on your face. So you want to indicate that by shading it with a different style of shading. If you do two distinctive lines, it can look like your person was trapped in Antarctica and now has horrible frostbite on their face. So be forewarned. Don't go too crazy because you can't come back from that look once you've gone there. All right, so those are our main features, our eyes, our nose, our mouth. You probably have a lot of leftover lines, so now would be a great time to go ahead and erase those. Otherwise, it'll look like your person has some really interesting geometric face tattoos, which honestly is a look I have not seen done. Usually people go for the tear, or like if you're Post Malone, maybe you just get a whole bunch of face tattoos, but that's not the style I'm going for. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and erase those. But if you drew it in pen and they're there to stay, that's all good because you're just trying to figure out, you know, basic facial features, anatomy, that sort of thing. I kind of felt like my person's chin was feeling a little sad, like there wasn't a whole lot of it. So I'm actually going to throw in a little bit more space for the chin. For a quick minute, they're going to have a double chin moment, which is unexpected and spicy. Love that eraser. What a good eraser. If you feel like you need an eraser, I think we're going to have a supply pickup on Thursday. So come to that if you're trying to see me and get some art supplies. All right, so now throwing in a chin. I just go ahead and I make a curved line because that's what I usually see when I look at people's chins, which is often. All right, and then I'm kind of thinking about maybe I want to throw in some cheekbones. Your cheekbones are a higher part of your face, so we want to kind of shade those in to make it look like you got some cheeks, look like you got some structure to your face, like you're not just a flat balloon. It looks creepy for sure at first, but it's gonna come together, I promise you. Right now, it's just this hard-boiled egg of a person, but it's really, you know, it's something special that we can all appreciate and enjoy together. I like to rub my finger against it because I feel like it smooths it out a little bit, makes it a little bit less terrifying, but still also at the same time, very, very terrifying. Contour that. Add a little bit along the edges. Pretend you're a Kardashian and really just contour the heck out of this person's face. If you're like, Miss King, what the heck is contouring? When people like put makeup on to make their face look more angular than it really is, which can really be a useful skill in drawing. you know, it's important. And now we got to talk about what else is important, and that's ears. Your ears are going to go from the bottom of your nose to kind of like where the top of your eye slash eyebrow is going to be, but obviously everybody has different ears. Hopefully you didn't get made fun of for the size and shape of your ears in elementary school. I feel like that's a thing little kids, they just love to do, and it's so rude. You can't help your ears. But they're kind of shaped like a peanut, you know? That's how I draw my ears. If you want to put in an earring, go for it. You could do a real statement look. And then you might see a little bit of the inside structure of the ears, so I just kind of draw in a little bit of like a question mark shape and I just fill it in. Wow, have you ever seen a more gorgeous human being, hard-boiled egg type of person? I haven't. Stunning. All right, so now we're about to have some fun. We're almost gonna do some hair, but first we gotta give this person a neck so they're not a floating head. The neck is pretty wide because it's holding up your whole dang head and brain. So we're going to draw a line down from the edge of each of your eyes. This looks particularly large at this angle because of the way my camera was tilted, but I promise you it looked a little bit better from where I was seeing it. I always shade the neck because your neck is like underneath your head and your head's pretty big, so it makes a shadow. Therefore, you gotta shade that sucker. You gotta make it look real good. Make it look real dark. That's always a place that I check for shadows. You can make an interesting collar or neckline for your person. Maybe they have some opulent jewelry. Maybe they got a V-neck or a sweater or something interesting. Maybe they have a choker necklace. Now's the time to decide that. We get a little bit of time to make some hair on your person, and that's gonna help them, you know, really not look as scary as they're looking right now. All right, with our hair, you don't want to make it flat like that because then it looks like your person hasn't had a shower, you know, in weeks. It's just greasy, flat hair. So you want your hair to go up and out of the head because hair, it grows upwards and then out. It doesn't just grow flat against your skull because really that looks kind of awful. So make sure you give your person some volume. You can decide at this point what you would like their gender identity to be, what you want their fashion identity to be, what you want their hair to do. What an opportunity. When you're drawing in the hair, try to avoid just drawing a million lines because then you're going to get what I call spaghetti hair syndrome, and that's not always the best. You want to kind of draw it as value because usually hair is kind of shiny, so you want to have sections that are dark and then sections that are bright, like they're reflecting the light so magnificently. You could, you know, have them have a really alternative style. For a minute, I considered only having half of their head be long hair and the other half being shaved. But then I thought, not sure about that, so I didn't. I went for the symmetrical look. I know it's a little more boring, but I just thought, you know, maybe I'll just be boring today. I'm gonna give them like a little swishy side bangs moment though, because that speaks to me. If you want to be fun and add in like accessories, a bandana, a little clip, it could be fun. All right, then I try to add in some individual strands now that there's kind of already some value laid out. Maybe a little bit of some face framing pieces there on the edges. Now you get to be a hairstylist. If you want to add in the other details at this point, like if you want to add in maybe some freckles, that's what I went ahead and did because, you know, it's a summertime gal that I'm drawing. I also think this is a fun time to add in things like glasses or jewelry, that sort of thing. I'm going to try to draw in some glasses for this person because I think glasses are really cute. I don't need glasses, but someday I probably will, and I'll be excited because I really want to pick out a nice pair for myself. So yeah, that's basically, you know, how to draw a face. This is something that I always show my drawing classes, and it's just good to review in Art 2, whether or not you took drawing or you've taken a class where you learned how to draw a portrait. It's good to remember kind of that quadrant method as well as where to place shadows depending on bone structure, because we never want a face to look flat. Because you got to remember, your whole skull is in there, so there's really a lot of bone structure that's happening, whether it's your cheekbones or it's your eye socket, or if the bridge of your nose, the ball of your nose, your chin. There's just a whole lot happening on our face. It's certainly one of the most complicated parts of the body. So just remember, you want to have those eyelids with that shading. Gotta have, a strong brow moment. And you gotta have all these different structures in your eyes, your iris, your pupil, the highlight, your tear duct. There's so much going on in the face, especially on that tricky nose. Gotta have your cheekbones. Gotta have that neck shading. I always check for that on my calligraphy portraits. I always check to make sure that there's shading in all of those different areas. So hopefully you had a good time drawing a creepy egghead person, and go terrify all your friends and families with this. Put it on your fridge. Put it inside your fridge. That could really scare somebody. Tape it to your milk carton. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Hopefully you had fun. Bye.